to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy superfan.
Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube, and Instagram with new episodes on Tuesdays. All right, so we have reached the infamous Beer Bad.
Right. Oh, wait, didn't you say something about this episode last time? What did you say about it? That a lot of people don't like it?
Yeah, it's one of the worst, regarded as one of the worst Buffy episodes ever made.
I mean,
and I learned something interesting about it.
Disagree with that.
No, really? You don't think it was so far? You don't think it was?
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, there were funny parts for sure.
I feel like also maybe because you told me a lot of people thought it was the worst episode ever, that maybe it set my expectations super low.
Yeah, I think maybe if I hadn't said anything, you'd have been like, "What the hell is it this episode?"
Maybe, yeah.
Well, that's good because at least you were able to enjoy it more than you would have going in blind.
Yeah.
So something I found out about this, which explains a lot. Actually, I did not know. This is kind of my part of doing the podcast, doing the deep dive and learning more about each episode. So apparently this plot was brought forward and for an episode because they were trying to get funding from the Office of National Drug Control. So I guess they were giving funds out to TV shows that would have a anti-drug message.
Oh.
Drug alcohol.
So they got
the
money
repercussions.
For beer bad. Beer's bad.
To have a lesson, you know what I mean?
Sure.
A lesson in the show about misusing drugs and alcohol. So that's why they did this, but it was rejected because they were like, this is nonsense.
I was just about to say there, they didn't actually show that beer was bad. All they showed was that
it was poison.
Beer is bad. Sure, that is true. If you put Rohypnol in alcohol, it's going to have bad too. And
at the end, Xander's he tries, right? Or they try. He's like, what did we learn about beer? And Buffy's like, it's foamy. And he's like, yeah, okay. So there was no lesson really learned.
True.
So they didn't get the money for it.
Yeah.
So all I got was most people's
criticism.
Yeah. Of this episode. There's a more hated episode because of what happens in it, because it's gut-wrenching and everything, and people think it shouldn't have been in the show. That's a different topic. But as far as quality, a lot of people think this is one of the worst.
I feel if I think about the episodes with the swim team
that was bad, yeah.
The hyena one.
Mm-hmm.
Those were worse than this episode in my mind. So there's that.
Cool. Well, I'm glad because the next 5 are all bangers in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Great. So we got through a little patch. Ending
on one of the top 5 episodes of the whole show.
Okay.
The 5th one that we're gonna go next, called Hush, is genius. Anyway. Okay. And then so I gotta start talking about these next 5 episodes. I'm excited about them. Let's get through Beer Bad first. Okay, so we have a previously on more Parker bullshit.
Yeah, and
I put asterisk eye roll. I'm like, I get it. Parker screwed
bad.
Buffy. Literally and figuratively. We get it.
Parker bad.
So in the graveyard, Buffy is fighting and staking vamps. They have this really weird track to it, which kind of gives away that something's not right.
I didn't notice that
techno.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a techno music, and you're like, something's odd about this. And we see that Parker's there, and he's being attacked by the vampires, and she saves him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I wish I treated you so badly. I want to make it up to you."
He wants forgiveness.
And then
what a weird thing. I was like, this is not
out of the blue, isn't it? You said, such a change of heart. And we go, Buffy's just fantasizing in psych class while she's watching him chat up another bird.
Yeah.
On his next
another
target.
Conquest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so basically this ties into what Maggie Walsh, the professor's talking about, the id.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the sexual drive and sexual desires.
What it wants.
Basically caveman mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's still in our brain, no matter how much we
desires.
Yeah. So Buffy's not listening, but this whole conversation is tied into what Buffy's experiencing. Yeah. And this episode with the caveman and stuff. And then, she just goes back to fantasizing back to it.
Well, it's funny because this is the professor even says, she's like, and what do we do when we can't have what we want? And then it segues into her daydream. And I'm like,
yeah. And this one's funny too, because the difference is when she saves Parker, he has his shirt open. He's holding ice cream and flowers.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. That's how every man should apologize for wrongdoing, in my opinion.
I mean, I hate Parker, but he is physically so my type.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like the dark, I just love the dark hair. Even though Spike is
There
blonde.
was someone else in this episode that was more my type. We'll get to him. He's not your type.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, no, I think Parker is like so good looking. It's ridiculous. And the eyes and the hair.
If you like that
that handsome sort of thing.
Yeah, sure.
I don't really like, I'm not actually like, I mean, he is kind of a pretty boy, but I still think he's like super handsome. Yeah. Anyway. Right. So yeah, then we go to the credits. When we come back, we're on campus, and Xander comes up to Buffy and Willow, who are sitting at a table studying. And Xander is getting a job at the pub, which I'm guessing is like the campus bar.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's just called the pub.
The pub. And he's like excited because he's like part of the experience now with them. That he's working at like a campus or like a local like haunt for the college students.
And I mean, that's just him like being able to stay more with his friends.
Yeah, to be involved more. And they're like, first of all, you're not old enough to be a bartender, which he has a fake ID for that. And second of all, you don't know how to do it. Like, there's actually a lot into being a bartender, like how to make all the drinks and everything.
I've seen Cocktails. I can handle it.
Yeah, I've seen Cocktail Night, which is a reference to a 1988 movie.
Tom Cruise?
Is it? I've never seen it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but I'm pretty sure it's Tom Cruise. It's iconic. I just haven't
they
seen
dance.
it.
He like
and he like I think dance. He like juggles the drink. I don't know. He does fun like boop. I don't know.
Yeah. This reference is a little bit out of my purview. I don't know what this is, but I looked it up. So yes, they dance at this thing. So he thinks he can dance, so he'd be okay. He's like, hey, you guys want to come and join and like come to the place and hang out? And Willow says no because her and Oz have a date. And Buffy doesn't really say either way.
Well, she's still pining after Parker.
She's still pining after Parker and is like, well, maybe he'll come around and maybe I'm like, you know, he puts the girls that they really want in a bubble. And then when he realizes he's going to come back around.
Let it go.
And Willow's like, you need to start thinking about him. Is it just me or does it feel like she's more hung up on Parker than she was on Angel? She's complained about him or like,
I think
not hung up on. I don't mean like she's in love with Parker.
It's like an obsessive thing because I feel like honestly I get where she's coming from because I've experienced what she's going through. It's just for some reason when you think things are going a certain way and they have this like instant tilt away from the direction that you assume it's going, it's like jarring and you can't pivot. You can't like for some reason you just can't like move with that change and you're just stuck where you were and you just get obsessive about it. It's not good. It's not healthy, but I've been there and I understand and I can empathize and it sucks. And I think with Angel, it's just very different.
I was going to say like, well, that basically that situation happened with Angel too, but I think this is like so removed from like the Slayer world. Like there's nothing. Yeah.
This has less closure.
Actually evil about Parker. He's a bad dude, but he's not like a demon or whatever.
There's just no closure basically.
So that too. Yeah.
And that's hard. That's easy to get hung up on as well.
Yeah. She just keeps going on about it. Like she just cannot accept that. Yeah. He used her.
Obsessive.
And you can feel like shitty about that, but she like still is like, maybe he'll come around.
Yep.
Do you want him to come around? Like you were used. I guess she thinks that would make it her not being used, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, she is still all about Parker coming back around. So we go to the pub and we see Xander struggling badly being the bartender.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah. Buffy comes in and is kind of looking for Parker or looking around really. And she runs into Riley. Riley the TA, if we remember him.
Yeah, we do. They keep showing him. So I'm kind of wondering what he's going to come up more, I'm assuming at some point. He's going to become more of a character. They're giving me foreshadowing here.
Yeah, like what's his point? Like he's got to be a point.
But there's something. I'm guessing he's going to be a love interest. Could be wrong, but we'll see.
So she runs into him. He's talking about Parker's latest conquest. So he has a reputation that Buffy didn't really know about beforehand.
Yeah. Which just seems like the TA seems like a lot of other people do.
Yeah, Buffy was like the only one that didn't like know what was going on.
I mean, yeah, and why would she?
Yeah, so she's not even listening to Riley. Riley's kind of talking about like he can't really believe that he does that. Like he's a gentleman. Like basically, like he wasn't taught to be like that. And Buffy's not listening to anything he says. So he's like, hey, I'll just see you in class. And then Buffy sees Parker go in and kiss the girl, whoever she is.
Some sorority chick.
Which is really like a knife to the heart. And this is important too, not only because she's seeing him kiss somebody else. When she was walking with Xander and Willow, she said, maybe he has an intimacy problem because his father died. And this shows that that's not really
No.
She says to Xander when she sits down, the problem is that he can't get enough of it. It's his intimacy problem.
Yeah.
So before that, though, Xander is trying to hit on a college girl at the bar, which is, I think, one of the main reasons he took the job as well. Yeah, and they're kind of starting to have a conversation in this like dumb jock.
Frat bro.
He's not a jock.
Frat bro.
Frat bro. Frat bro comes over and like belittles Xander.
Like, wow.
It's like, oh, we were having a conversation. And he like pulls out some like
says he's dumb. He says he's poor.
Yeah, and like we were having like tries to have like this really like intellectual conversation with the girl, intentionally trying to leave Xander out because he knows he's not in college.
Which is stupid.
Yeah, it's really mean.
Like, I mean, I wouldn't find that attractive. Gross.
No, I'd be like, get away from me, dude. And she tells him like, be nice, but that's it.
No.
This guy is a complete jerk. So then she goes. Then he goes over to Buffy, and he's like, oh, like Parker, like his problem. I realize now that his problem is that he can't get enough intimacy. So really, she was used, and she calls herself a slut.
Yeah,
which is so sad.
I mean, but she's not.
Yeah, and we know the whole slut shaming thing. Even if she was like, yes, I want to have casual sex with this guy, and nothing go further than that, she's still not a slut.
No, like, exactly.
Who cares? But it's her fault that for some reason that he didn't want her, and now she's a slut for sleeping with him, and he's moving on, and all this stuff. It's just so sad. Like she's beating herself up so bad for nothing. Nothing her fault anyway. And then she goes to leave because obviously it's like put a damper on her evening. So she goes to leave, and that college guy that spoke down to Xander and his like two friends come over, and they see a pretty girl, and they're like, "Oh, you can't leave! Like, come and have a drink with us." And she sees Parker.
Actually, out of his two friends, who do we think I would think is cute?
The Indian guy?
Cal Penn.
What's that?
Harold and Kumar. He was on the house. He's in so many things.
Oh,
you don't know who Cal Penn is?
Is that the Indian guy?
Yeah, but he's famous. What else is he in?
I've never even seen that, and I have nothing.
He's like anyway, he's in a bunch of stuff. He was in How I Met Your Mother.
I've never seen that.
Anyway,
I've seen a little bit of that show, and I'm just like not.
He's pretty famous.
Okay, cool.
He's probably one of the most famous people on the show, actually.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Cheers to that.
Anyway, continue.
I mean, I know you have a type, so I was like, the Indian guy? Yeah, so I picked the right guy, but purely by a fluke.
Okay. So she accepts the drink, and, why not?
We'll see what happens.
Here's to moving on.
Yeah, she sees Parker leaving with that girl and is like, you know what? I need to get blasted. Sounds good. So at the Bronze, Oz and Willow are sitting at a table just talking about school and class and stuff. And we've noticed a trend in this episode that Oz is not showing up for class.
Yeah.
Which is a reason why didn't graduate the first time.
Mm-hmm.
He just doesn't go to school for some reason.
Yeah.
But she's saying, I have your notes and all this. And then he is distracted by Veronica's band.
Yeah, what is this? What was this? What was going on here?
So if you remember, this is the girl that a few episodes ago Oz passed with a group of friends, and they kind of look back at each other.
Oh, that was the same girl.
Yeah, this is the same girl.
Oh.
And Willow notices that he just like can't take his eyes off of her, and she's like singing to him.
She feels insecure, and for like, I don't know, maybe for good reason. It seems really weird.
Well, it's weird this moment for sure.
Here's my theory: is that they may be wolves, and they're having like a wolfy moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll see what happens later on.
Yeah, Oz says that he knows the drummer of the band, but he doesn't know her personally because Willow says, do you know her?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Hello?
What's going on?
Girlfriend over here. We're trying to talk to you, and he's not there, really.
Which is very un-Oz-like.
It is very un-Oz-like. So, yeah, Willow definitely notices, and he's just trying to... He says he feels something weird, too. He says he feels weird. So, interesting development there.
Hmm.
At the pub, we see Buffy is drinking a lot, and these guys are just being like, ugh,
Oh my god, they're
insufferable.
so
Like,
gross.
I'm so smart because I'm a freshman in college. Like,
Yeah, whatever,
I know
dude.
everything now. Yeah, but she's starting to put them away. In Buffy's dorm, Willow, the next day, Willow comes in from like going to the bathroom, and she's like, "Oh, Oz, you're just so nice." And like, "Oh, Veronica," like she's just like annoyed, very annoyed that Oz was seemingly attracted to this girl
Hmm.
and not paying attention to Willow when they were together.
And
And she
then
find,
she finds out Buffy was hanging out with those guys, 4 really smart guys. And
hmm
then she was just like, I don't remember exactly how, but it was just so funny because like she was like, 4? Ow.
yeah,
And then it's like, and then sex, and Buffy's like, "What? No."
yeah. She gives Willow the impression that she had sex with 4 guys,
Yes.
and but Buffy's like, no. Buffy's basically just like hungover,
Yeah.
but she is like getting close to the TV, like touching it, and acting weird, even though
She's acting weird. Yeah.
she is like,
More than hungover weird.
yeah, weird, yeah. But we're like, okay, we can explain this away as being hungover. And they are going to. She said she saw Parker, and that kind of like brought it on. And Willow was like, "Oh, Parker! I am gonna kill Parker. I hate Parker."
We all hate Parker.
So they go to psych, and Buffy is acting strangely when Maggie Walsh talks about the reading. Buffy raises her hand and points to Willow and says, "She did the reading." And Maggie's like, "Okay, well, that will be helpful for her." Yeah. And then Buffy steals the girl's sandwich in
She
front of her.
smells it.
Yeah,
She like smells it and looks at it and then just takes it and
just
eats
grabs
it.
it and starts eating it. And the girl's like, "What the hell?" So yeah, Buffy's like devolving to
Regressing.
her basic
Yeah.
instincts, right?
Yes. She's following her id.
Yeah, and she wants food. Buffy wants food. So then I put somewhere. I guess
I put
it's
lab question mark?
yeah, like chem lab somewhere.
Yeah, chemistry.
We see like a chemistry set. Yeah, it's
into
just
black brass beer.
yeah. Which if we whatever his name is, the asshole guy from the beginning, like he asked for that beer from
That beer
Xander
specifically.
Yeah, so that's what they were drinking. So at the pub that night, Buffy's back with the gang and back on the drinking train, and it keeps pulling them back.
Yep.
And they start seeming dumber. You could explain this away too as like, this is what drunk people sound like to sober
Yeah,
people.
kind of. Yeah.
It's not
They're
out
like
of the realm
barbarians.
of what freaking I've had as a sober person.
Yeah, same.
Oh,
Dealing with drunk people.
dealing with drunk people is the worst. So, that could be explained away in this. It's not like positive that they're going to be caveman people. But yeah, they start like really like being very simplistic in their speaking and everything. And Xander's watching this and he's concerned. He's trying to keep an eye out for her, especially when she's with all these guys. So in the hallway, Oz and Willow have an awkward interaction. They meet up and
Yeah.
Oz wants to know if, hey, Chai, Veruca's band is playing again tonight if you want to go. And I'm going to stand in for their like guitar player. And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to study. And it's like awkward. He's like, yeah, I guess it could be boring for you just to sit there. And she's like, okay.
And then just leaves awkwardly.
Bye. And he's like, oh yeah, a Veruca shows 2 nights in a row. Like she's, yeah, kind of sending him signals that like this Veruca thing is weird. And yeah. And then she just says, okay, bye. It's very weird and awkward.
I feel bad for her.
Some tension there. So at the pub, Buffy is she's way wasted and is like attacking the jukebox basically.
She's calling it stupid.
Yeah,
stupid.
You stupid. And Xander just basically makes her go home and go to bed. He's cutting her off.
Crying.
Yeah, and he sends her on her way.
She wants the jukebox to sing.
Sing. So at a coffee shop, so this is where Willow goes, I'm assuming to like, she was going to study because there are other people studying there. And she sees Parker sitting at a table. So she goes over to confront him. So she basically, she confronts him about how he treated Buffy and like she's really hurting. And it's all his fault that he like led her on basically. And he's very smooth.
He is actually. I'll give him credit. And I mean, he's just like, in most relationships are very short. Can't two people just get together and create something beautiful without over analyzing and go back to their respective lives the next day separately, but better for it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you say it like that, like it does make you pause and think. I get it.
Yeah, he's like, isn't it basically saying, yeah, isn't it okay to just have casual sex?
You
Like,
know
what's wrong
what?
with that?
It is. However, that's what it should have been prefaced with that. You
Yeah,
should have
the
made
two
that
parties
clear.
should be understood
Aware.
of
Yep.
what's happening on.
100%.
But yeah, he does apologize. He's like, I never meant to hurt Buffy, and if I did, I didn't mean to lead her on. And I'm sorry about that. You're such a good friend to her. So like they
He's so
start
impressed
talking.
with how much she cares.
Yeah.
Oh, so thoughtful. So
It's
nice of him.
so yeah. So at the pub, the guys are definitely
Neanderthals.
devolving.
They're Neanderthals.
Yeah,
I wrote it. I wrote it down.
guys are that regardless, but they are actually like physically changing, and they can't figure out their tip. So they just give Xander a wad of cash. He's like, "Yep, that'll do." He just takes all the money. And one of the guys went to the bathroom, and he bursts out of the bathroom, and he is full Neanderthal. Like his face has changed, his teeth are all spaced out. Like he is like stereotypical caveman. And then the rest of them all start changing. They like kind of like when Oz changes, kind of like that. Like it's painful for them to change. Yeah. It's like they kind of get hunched over and like physically they change. So they scare Xander, and he scares them off with a lighter because they're like, "Ooh, fire!" And then he like, kind of puts it at them, and they're like, "Oh my god!" So they like run out of the pub.
And then Xander tries to tell his boss about it, and his boss is not surprised?
Shocked for some reason.
No, weird.
Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, he says they had it coming.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And then we kind of see them running through campus, running amok. And then we come back to the owner. He said he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
Basically, these kids come in and treat him like shit. Yep. And they think they're so much better than everyone else. And this beer is kind of the great equalizer. So it turns them all, makes them all the same. And he says it only lasts a few days. But he's like, shit.
A few days.
A few days. And Xander's like, oh my god, I gave Buffy that beer. Like, she could be turning... I mean, obviously, something's happening to her. He knew something was weird, but she's turning into a cave woman. And one little reference here that I was not familiar with, I don't know, but I looked it up. He says, how long before they start questing for fire? And that's a 1911 novel and a 1981 movie, which is about cavemen. Never heard of it. Haven't seen it, haven't read it, haven't ever heard of it, but that's what he says. He's referencing those when he says that.
Okay.
So on campus, the guys are running amok, and they run in front of a car, and one of them is hit by a car. And the other ones chase the guy. Because the guy jumps out, of course, he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Are you okay? And the other ones chase him off. And they just start beating the shit out of his car with branches.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they see some girls walking by and chase them.
So they go to chase them because of their instincts.
Women.
A little creepy.
Okay, so we're at Buffy's dorm, and Xander has gone to get Giles.
And Buffy's drawing on the wall.
So they run into Buffy's room, and they find her doing, like, cave paintings on her wall. Yeah, and she looks feral.
She does. She's a little scary looking.
She looks feral.
And she's saying, Parker, bad.
Parker, bad. So they go to the coffee shop, and Parker is trying to charm Willow. He's like, it's so great to talk to you. Like, I haven't found a girl. I met a lot of girls. This might sound pompous, but I met a lot of girls, and I haven't found one that I can just be myself with and sit and talk to and be in silence with. And, it just, you're just, it's great been talking to you. And he, like, reaches out and puts his hand on her arm.
And she's kind of leaning into it, and she's kind of like, I mistakenly thought she was drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit.
I was going to say, did you fall for this?
He's just like, I just haven't found the one yet, which I mean, wow, I've heard that line before.
The one for tonight, he means.
Yes, exactly. So
did you think, were you like, no, Willow, no?
So I just thought that maybe I didn't think she was going to go for him, but I just thought maybe he was going to like take basically have her a little more on his side, which was making me a little disappointed. But I should have known better because Willow is badass and strong.
I love how she did it. She was like, "Can I ask you something? How gullible do you think I am?" And he's like, "What?"
I love that. That was so great.
She was playing along the whole time. She never fell for it. She's like, "Yeah,
all about sex. Men haven't changed since the dawn of time."
And then, right on cue, the cave boys burst through the door, and she's like, "See? There you go." Not even like, she's just like, yep, see, here's cavemen coming in. This, yeah. I told ya. Back in Buffy's dorm, Xander and Giles have a debate, like, what to do with her. Because they say she's not in danger now. Like, it will wear off. Like, we probably just need to keep her contained. And Xander says, well, Giles says, okay, Xander, you can stay with her. But then she starts, like, sniffing on him. And she's like, boy, smells good.
Smells good.
And Xander's like, okay, maybe Giles says, okay, maybe she needs to stay by herself. And Xander says, whatever the guy's name was, the owner, said the beer should only last a few days. And Buffy's like, here's the magic word. Beer. Buffy want beer. And Giles, you can't have any beer. And then Buffy's like, Buffy want beer. And like, don't make her mad. Don't make her mad. And she's like, Buffy's strong. And the scene was funny. Xander's like, yes. Giles is like, yes, Buffy is strong. They're trying to like placate her because she's going to kick their ass if they say that she can't have beer. But then she does anyway. She kind of just kicks them away like flies and is going to get her beer. And she runs out into the hallway. So at back at the pub, they, of course, as cavemen do, they've discovered fire. And so like they make a little fire and they've got like the women that they dragged in there from the campus. I forgot to mention that when they came in, when talking about the cavemen, they knocked out Parker and Willow. Knocked them unconscious. Right. Forgot to mention that. Yeah. So Parker and Willow are still unconscious and they have this fire and the fire starts growing and then it starts getting out of control and everybody starts freaking out. So on campus, Xander finds Buffy kind of wandering around looking for the beer and he, basically is like, this is bad and like you can't have the beer and this is bad for you. And then Buffy sees the smoke from the pub in the distance and then she says, fire bad, and they like run over there. So this is like the second time they've done like the fire, the simple like fire pretty, fire bad or whatever. I don't know if you remember in the finale when Buffy was talking to Giles and she was like, he got her diploma and she's like, I am just like so overwhelmed right now and like dealing with what has just happened that I'm only thinking like fire pretty because of the explosion or whatever. So then this is fire bad. And actually something similar is said again once in the series. So they have these little fun little things that are repeated throughout the series. So at the pub, they're kind of freaking out because they can't get out. And they had like barricaded the door and like the fire's in front of the door, the exit, so they can't get out. Yep. Buffy manages to get in. She just kind of bursts through. She sees Willow unconscious on the floor and like jumps over the fire to Willow. Before that, she touches the fire because she doesn't even know what it is. She's like, ah, and like it burns her. And then also she gets the fire extinguisher. She's not fully
figure. Yeah, I know. Yeah. She's like part way. She can't figure out how to use it.
I think they were drinking more than her, and so she's almost like her face didn't
change.
Or
maybe she also has like Slayer powers that helps.
Maybe because like a part of her realizes the fire extinguisher is important to stopping the fire, but she doesn't.
She can't figure out how to.
Can't figure it out, so she throws it at the fire.
That doesn't help,
and nothing happens.
Yeah, obviously,
and she's like, okay, yeah. So then she sees Willow, jumps over it, and like tries to get to Willow, and Xander comes in and can't find anybody because of the smoke, and he's like, where's Giles? And the scene is so funny. So maybe cut to a really, really quick scene with Giles is describing Buffy to another student because he's still looking for her in the dorm. And he's like, this high, blonde, and she walks with like a gait because she like, walks cave. She walks with a limp because she's a cave woman.
Giles.
Poor thing. He's like, first of all, he didn't get paid enough before, and now he gets paid nothing, and he has to deal with it. But Buffy gets paid 0, so that's bad. Oh, God. Okay, yeah, so poor Giles. So back at the pub, Buffy kind of is able to kick open like a small window, and like she goes back to get Willow. The cave guys kind of like scramble up to get out.
Like a makeshift ladder type thing.
Yeah, and Xander's helping get the girls out and gets Willow out, and Buffy's still in there. And so we go in, and Buffy sees Parker wake up, and Parker's like panicking, like, what are we gonna do, Buffy? We have to get out of here. Like, what are we gonna do? And then she just hits him with the big, I want to say stick, but it was big. Mm-hmm. It was a huge branch, and knocks him unconscious, and then drags him out. So she knocks him out, but she does get him out of the fire. Okay.
Part of her thought about leaving him. We all know it.
Yeah, Parker bad. Parker need to die. So outside, the fire department is there, and everything's like being taken under control with the fire. Yeah. The cave boys are locked in a van, so they're just going wow, like going crazy in the van. I like how Giles says, "Whose van is that?" Xander says, "I don't know. It was unlocked." So some poor person's van has got all these cave people in it. Parker comes over to Buffy. He's come to again, and he's gonna have brain damage after this episode.
The daydream plays out.
Yeah. And he says, you saved my life. You were great in there. I'm so sorry for how I treated you. Like, I hope that you can forgive me. And then she knocks him out again.
Yep.
Just
smacks him on the head.
Yep. And knocks him. He's knocked unconscious for the third time in about 3 hours. Yeah. Parker's never going to be the same after this. So these head injuries.
I mean, it's deserved. So
yeah, he's never going to be the same. So, yeah. And then they walk away. They take Buffy and kind of guide her away. And so she needs to let it leave her system. And that's the end of the episode. So Parker gets his from Buffy. All right. So my favorite quote was, "And was there a lesson in all of this?" Xander. "Was there a lesson in all this, huh? What did we learn about beer?" And Buffy says, "Foamy." I think Xander after that says, just so we're clear. Yeah. That's it. Foamy. And then my favorite scene was, first place was when Giles and Xander have to deal with Buffy in her room. And she's like, "Buffy's strong. Buffy want beer." And they're trying to be "You can't have beer." It's like dealing with a little toddler, basically. They're dealing with a toddler that's getting angry that you say they can't have what they want, except for this toddler can kick your ass. So I thought that was just so funny. And when they come in and they come back and Buffy's twirling around on the chair. It's so funny. And then a close second was, because it was so short, I felt like it didn't work for picking my favorite scene. But when Giles was describing her to that guy, he's like, "She's this tall, blonde. She walk with a limp." I just cracked up at that. Poor Giles. He's like, "This is my life." So yeah, that was second. But I thought it was a really funny little part.
My favorite scene and line coincide. It's when Willow's talking with Parker, and she's basically like, "How gullible do you think I am? It's all about the sex, and men haven't changed since the dawn of time." And then that was also my favorite scene. So.
That was a good one. It was a good one, yeah. Not whoever, the person that wrote the episode, they wrote Parker really well.
Yeah.
Because you're I don't like you, but sure, if you had been way more straightforward with Buffy, I would have nothing to say about your arguments.
Yeah, of course.
As long as everybody knows what's happening.
Yeah, but he was deceitful.
I could not say anything about what you're saying. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is true. You know what I mean? So they wrote him very well that way. You're you didn't do right, but you're not totally off base at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my stake rating, I'm going to up it a little bit. I was pretty harsh.
Okay.
I'm going to give it a 2.8. I upped it. Okay. I said it had some laughs. I think it was ridiculous, but Sam Shigeru did a pretty good job. When she was trying to be funny, the Buffy's strong, Buffy want beer, and all that. I thought she was actually
she was good at it
as well as she could
cute.
have. Yeah, she was cute. And I think that saving grace was the Oz and Willow storyline, even though we didn't get a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's something going on there that I think
it caught our interest.
It was interesting because we don't see Oz kind of in those situations ever.
Yeah.
So that was the saving grace of the episode for me. That's the only 2 notes I made on it.
Okay. I gave it a 3.5.
Wow.
I just didn't think it was that bad. I don't know. I thought
good. No, I'm glad.
I thought it was funny. I thought I liked the stuff with Parker. Actually, I liked how she ended up she's still pining over him, but she ended up getting to hit him over the head, which I really liked.
Cave woman closure,
which is what most people want to be able to do with guys who do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I liked how Willow Willow sat him down and talked to him. That was really cool that she did that, and he tried to persuade her, and she's like, "No, you're just being a dick. Just own up to your shit," basically. So I like that. Yeah. So I did like that stuff, but I don't really have a lot more to say. I was gonna say I don't really have a lot more to say.
Yeah, definitely Buffy got her cave woman closure. which was knocking him unconscious
and
several times.
I'm hoping going forward that we're not pining after him anymore or like seeing him with other chicks and all that. I hope he's just done. Like,
yeah, I'm as a viewer, like I've seen it before, but as a viewer, I am over it now.
Yep, exactly.
Like, time to move along. So yeah, I just Buffy like being all consumed by this Parker situation is not. It gets old now. You know what I mean? So hopefully we'll be moving on from that. Okay, so our next episode is called Wild at Heart. And this is kind of a double fill in the blank. Because I didn't want to give anything away about this episode because it's a pretty consequential episode. So I said, blank is saved by getting hit by a car by blank.
Wait, blank is saved by getting hit
by a car.
Getting hit by a car by blank?
By blank, yeah.
By getting hit by a car by... So these are names?
Yes.
So is the second blank the person driving the car?
No. The person driving the car is not involved. I mean, it's not a character.
Okay, it's not a blank.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's main characters because we don't really talk about the minor characters too much yet. So Willow is saved by getting hit by a car by Xander? I don't know. Okay, I don't know.
All right.
Go with that.
Xander saving the day again?
I mean...
We will see. We will see. Yes, I am so excited for the next 5 episodes. Oh, very good. Yeah, so excited. All right. So that wraps up season 4, episode 5, Beer Bad. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. You can also email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with season 4, episode 6, Wild at Heart. Slay you real soon.
Bye.